There's a quiet ache that settles in when you realize someone you care about doesn't see your worth. It doesn't show up all at once. It creeps in slowly. At first, you justify his lack of attention. You tell yourself he's busy, distracted, stressed. But over time, that excuse starts to crumble under the weight of your loneliness. When a man makes you feel like an option instead of a priority, it's not just disrespect, it's a reflection of how little space he's willing to make for you in his life. And no matter how much you love him, the truth is, love without value is just emotional charity. When a man truly values you, he doesn't treat you like a last-minute decision. You don't have to fight for his time or compete with everything else in his life. You don't have to wonder if he'll show up, respond to your messages, or remember the things that matter to you. But when he doesn't value you, it feels like you're always waiting for his attention, his affection, his clarity. You become stuck in this emotional limbo where nothing is stable, and everything depends on his mood or schedule. At first, you may confuse it with independence. You may think he's just not clingy, or he wants space. But eventually, you realize it's not about healthy space, it's about indifference. You find yourself getting excited over crumbs. A text after 2 days of silence feels like a gift. A short phone call becomes the highlight of your week. And that's when you start losing yourself. You begin minimizing your needs just to keep him comfortable. You start adjusting your expectations to match what he's willing to give, instead of asking yourself what you truly deserve. You deserve to be chosen every day without hesitation. Not because you asked for it, not because you proved your worth, but because the right person sees your worth. When a man makes you feel like an option, he's not just forgetting plans or being inconsistent. He's silently telling you that other things, his work, his friends, his distractions, come first. You are not his priority, you are an afterthought, and even if he doesn't say it outright, his actions speak loud enough. It might not even be dramatic. He might not raise his voice or treat you poorly. In fact, he may be kind and charming when he's around, but love that only shows up part-time is not love, it's convenience. He might reach out when he's bored, lonely, or needs validation, but when you need emotional support or clarity, he disappears. He offers just enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to make you feel secure. Over time, this dynamic begins to take a toll on your self-esteem. You start wondering what you're doing wrong. You ask yourself, why am I not enough? But let me be clear, it's not about you being enough. It's about him not being capable or willing to rise to the level of love and commitment you deserve. You're not asking for too much, you're asking the wrong person. Real love doesn't leave you confused. It doesn't make you feel like you're begging for attention. It shows up consistently, patiently, and with intention. A man who sees your value doesn't make you chase him. He meets you, he communicates clearly. He makes you feel seen, heard, and respected. And most importantly, he prioritizes you not just with words, but with actions. Walking away from someone who treats you like an option is not easy, especially when you've built hopes and dreams around them. But staying in a space where your worth is constantly overlooked will only make you forget who you are. It will drain your energy, cloud your joy, and leave you questioning your own magic. And that's a cost far too high for anyone to pay. You are not meant to live on standby. You are not meant to wait for someone to finally choose you when it's convenient for them. You are meant to be loved out loud, without fear, without hesitation, and without doubt. You are meant to be someone's priority, not because you demanded it, but because they recognized your light and knew better than to dim it. So if you're sitting in a relationship where you constantly feel like you're not enough, where you feel like you're being strung along or tolerated instead of cherished, it's time to remember your power. It's time to stop explaining your worth and start walking in it, because the right person won't make you question where you stand. They'll remind you, through every word, every action, every moment, that you were never just an option. There's something deeply painful about feeling unheard in a relationship. When your words fall on deaf ears, When your boundaries are brushed aside like they don't matter, it sends a clear message: your voice isn't valued. And when a man consistently ignores your voice and disrespects your boundaries, what he's really saying, without needing to say it out loud, is that your emotional well-being isn't a priority to him. No matter how charming he may be, or how much history you share, this kind of disregard is a form of emotional erasure that chips away at your self-worth over time. At first, it may feel subtle. Maybe you express how something made you feel, and he shrugs it off. Maybe you ask for a little space, and he invades it with excuses. You might set a clear boundary, something simple like not calling after a certain hour or needing a day to yourself, and instead of respecting it, he tests it. He makes jokes about it. He tries to negotiate it, and you start second, guessing whether your boundaries were ever valid in the first place. But they always were. Boundaries are not barriers to connection. They are the foundation of healthy connection. They are how we teach people how to love us. And when someone repeatedly crosses them, they are telling you, loud and clear, that they don't care about the rules that protect your peace. Whether it's physical, emotional, or mental space you're asking for, being ignored or overridden sends a painful message. Your comfort is secondary to his convenience. When a man ignores your voice, it's not always in the form of yelling or obvious conflict. Sometimes it's in the silence. You bring something up, something meaningful, something vulnerable, and he changes the subject, or he tells you you're overreacting. Maybe he even gives you that familiar line, "You're too sensitive." Over time, this gaslighting creates confusion. You stop trusting your feelings, you minimize your needs, you begin to question if speaking up is even worth the effort. That is how you slowly disappear inside your own relationship. You go from being a woman with confidence and clarity to someone who walks on eggshells, always trying to say the right thing, never sure if your truth will be accepted. But love should never require you to mute yourself. You should never have to shrink to be loved. Being in a relationship with someone who disregards your boundaries often becomes a pattern of emotional imbalance. You're giving more, bending more, and constantly accommodating someone who takes without gratitude. It's draining. You find yourself constantly explaining the same thing, asking for the same respect, setting the same limit, solely for him to pretend he forgot, or worse, act like you're unreasonable for having those boundaries in the first place. Respect is not shown in grand gestures. It's shown in the quiet moments, when he listens without interrupting, when he honors your no without pushing, when he doesn't turn your vulnerabilities into weapons. If he can't do that, it doesn't matter how much chemistry there is, how many good days you've had, or how much you love him. Love without respect is manipulation dressed in affection. You deserve someone who hears you the first time, who honors your limits not out of obligation, but because they care about how you feel. You deserve someone who makes space for your voice in every conversation, not just when it's convenient for them. Someone who never uses your emotions against you, but instead protects the sacredness of your honesty. It takes courage to speak up. It takes strength to say, "This doesn't feel right," or "I need something different." And it takes even more courage to walk away when those words are met with dismissal or disdain. But choosing your voice over their comfort is not selfish. It's necessary. You cannot thrive in a relationship where you are constantly being silenced. Many women stay because they hope he'll change. They think if they explain it better next time or say it more gently, maybe he'll finally listen. But the truth is, if someone wants to understand you, they will. If someone values you, they will make the effort. Listening is not a skill, it's a choice, and ignoring your voice is not an accident. It's a reflection of their priorities. You were not put on this earth to beg for the bare minimum. Your voice is not too much. Your needs are not too high. Maintenance, your boundaries are not a burden. They are a map to the kind of love you want and deserve. And if someone can't respect that map, they have no business walking that journey with you. So let your voice be loud, let your boundaries be clear, and let your heart stay open. but never to those who make you feel like you need to fight to be heard, because the right love will never silence you. It will echo your truth back to you with kindness, with respect, and with unwavering care. There's a certain kind of exhaustion that sets in when you're constantly the giver in a relationship. It starts quietly, almost invisibly. At first, you're happy to do things for him, plan the dates, send the good morning messages, check in when he's quiet, support his dreams, lift him up when he's low. You give because that's who you are. You love fully, with intention, with care. But over time, something begins to shift. You notice that your efforts are rarely matched, that the emotional labor, the nurturing, the presence, you're the one carrying it all. And the weight gets heavier when you realize he takes, but rarely gives. It doesn't always look cruel or dramatic. Sometimes he's polite, even charming. Maybe he says thank you once in a while, or notices when you do something big. But overall, the relationship is one-sided. He receives your energy like it's expected, not appreciated. Your kindness becomes routine to him. Your support is just there, like background music. And the more he takes without giving, the more you start to feel invisible, not because he doesn't see you, but because he chooses not to show up for you in return. This kind of imbalance can slowly drain your sense of worth. You may not even realize it's happening at first. You're doing what you believe love requires, being present, being patient, being supportive. But one day, you find yourself sitting alone in your car after another argument, wondering how you became the only one fighting for something that's supposed to be shared. You ask yourself, why am I always the one holding this together? A man who takes but rarely gives isn't necessarily a bad person. Sometimes he's just emotionally immature. Sometimes he's never had to think beyond himself. But intention doesn't excuse impact. Just because someone didn't mean to hurt you doesn't mean you're not hurting. And a man who consistently benefits from your love while offering little in return is showing you exactly where you stand in his world, somewhere below his effort. Real love is not passive, it's active. It requires showing up even when it's inconvenient. It means giving back, not just material things, but time, thoughtfulness, emotional availability, and effort. It means listening, checking in, being there when you're not at your best. If you find yourself doing all the giving, making the calls, solving the problems, initiating the hard conversations, then you're not in a relationship, you're in an emotional transaction, and you're paying the price alone. You start to notice little things. He forgets your birthday plans, but expects you to remember his. He vents to you when he's overwhelmed, but doesn't ask how your day went. He disappears when you need him most, then reappears when he wants comfort or attention. You bend and bend and bend until you begin to break. That's what happens when you love someone who only knows how to receive. You start running on empty. What's worse is how society often glorifies this kind of one-sided love when it comes from women. We're told to be nurturing, to be patient, to hold a man down until he grows. But growth is not your burden. If a man can receive your love, he should also be capable of returning it. You are not a rehabilitation center for emotionally unavailable partners. You are a woman deserving of reciprocity. It can be hard to walk away from someone who takes. There's a strange comfort in routine, even when it hurts. You remember the good moments, the rare times he did show appreciation or made an effort. But those moments shouldn't be exceptions. They should be the standard. You can't build a future with someone who's only committed to the parts of love that benefit him. Commitment without contribution is exploitation, no matter how softly it's wrapped. You might fear that asking for more will push him away, but the truth is, a man who truly values you will want to give. He won't see your needs as burdens, he'll see them as opportunities to love you better. He'll ask, "How can I support you today?" He'll show up consistently, not because you begged him to, but because he sees your worth clearly and honors it. Love should never feel like a performance where you play every role. Caretaker, motivator, peacemaker. while he simply watches from the audience. If he doesn't clap for your efforts, if he doesn't meet you halfway, if he doesn't reach for your hand when you're the one falling, then it's time to reconsider why you're still showing up for someone who treats your heart like a convenience. You are not difficult to love. You are not asking for too much. You are simply asking the wrong person. There is someone out there who will be grateful for your love, who will match your energy, who will give without needing to be reminded. But first, you must stop pouring into people who only know how to drink from your cup and never refill it. Love is a two-way street, and you deserve to walk it with someone who steps in sync with you. Every step, every day, every heartbeat. Never forget, giving is beautiful, but only when it's mutual. There is a unique kind of pain that comes from loving someone who slowly, quietly makes you question your own worth. It doesn't happen all at once. It's not loud or obvious. In fact, it often begins with the smallest moments. An ignored message, a dismissive tone, a forgotten promise. At first, you tell yourself it's nothing. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he's going through something. Maybe you're just overthinking, so you make excuses. You give him grace, but as time goes on, a pattern emerges, and that pattern doesn't just erode your trust in him. It begins to erode your trust in yourself. When a man makes you question your worth, it's rarely with words alone. It's with behavior. It's in the way he makes you feel replaceable, even when he never says it directly. It's in the way he lifts others up, but never affirms you. It's in the way he remembers what matters to everyone else, but forgets the details that make you feel seen. You start to wonder, am I not enough? What am I doing wrong? And those questions don't come from nowhere. They come from repeated moments of being dismissed, overlooked, or emotionally abandoned. You may start to shrink yourself just to avoid conflict. You hesitate before expressing your feelings, afraid you'll be labeled as too much or too sensitive. You water down your truth, downplay your needs, and try to become easier to love. You convince yourself that if you can just be more patient, more understanding, more forgiving, then maybe he'll start treating you the way you deserve. But here's the truth. No amount of shrinking will make the wrong person see your full value. The danger of this kind of relationship is that it doesn't always look toxic on the surface. He might not yell. He might not cheat. He might even say he loves you. But love without respect is not love. It's possession. And a man who constantly chips away at your confidence is not protecting your heart. He's quietly controlling it. By making you doubt yourself, he keeps you dependent on his validation. You start to look to him for approval, for reassurance, for worth. And when he doesn't give it, you blame yourself, not him. This emotional erosion is subtle but powerful. One day you're a woman who knows her worth, and the next you're questioning if you even deserve more. You settle for crumbs because you've forgotten what it feels like to be nourished by love. You hold on tighter, hoping he'll finally see how loyal you are, how deeply you care. But love should never be proven through suffering. You should not have to lose yourself to keep someone else. When someone truly values you, you don't have to perform for their attention. You don't have to guess where you stand. They create a space where your voice matters, where your feelings are respected, where your worth is affirmed consistently, not occasionally. They don't diminish your light to make themselves shine brighter. They don't make you feel like you have to earn basic kindness or emotional presence. They see your strength, your softness, your brilliance, and they rise to meet it. But when you're with someone who doesn't recognize your value, everything becomes harder. Love becomes a battle, communication becomes a minefield, your spirit begins to dim, and yet you stay, not because you don't know better, but because you hope. You hope he'll change. You hope he'll finally understand. You hope the person he was in the beginning will come back. But the truth is, the man who makes you question your worth is not confused. He's comfortable, comfortable knowing you'll stay, comfortable knowing you'll keep giving, comfortable knowing you'll tolerate being unseen. Reclaiming your worth starts with the painful but necessary decision to stop waiting for someone else to validate it. It starts with looking in the mirror and reminding yourself of who you were before you met him. It's remembering the fire in you, the voice in you, the brilliance you've always carried. It's choosing to believe that the right person won't make you doubt yourself. They'll help you remember your power. Healing from someone who made you question your worth takes time. You might feel guilt, confusion, even grief. But every step you take away from that relationship is a step back toward yourself. You'll begin to see that his inability to value you was never about your lack. It was about his limitations. And you'll learn that your worth was never lost. It was just buried beneath all the ways you tried to earn what should have been freely given. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not asking for too much. You were simply trying to bloom in soil that could not nourish you. And now you get to choose differently. You get to choose people who see you, honor you, and reflect your light back to you. Because the moment you stop accepting less than you deserve is the moment you start living like you know your worth. And when you do that, the right kind of love will find you. Not the kind that makes you question your value, but the kind that helps you remember it every single day.